In this video, I'll be sharing a shop hack with you that goes well beyond the shop. It's really more of a life hack. It's something that I use not only here in my garage workshop, but also on my truck, at my job, and in my home. It's all about using electrical wire in ways that have nothing to do with electricity. And the idea is to inspire you to get your creative juices flowing, to get you all amped up into making some shockingly creative and simple uses with electrical wire. Before I start to show you all the different things that I've made with the wire, I'm going to go over the specifics of the wire and some of the tools that I use to make this stuff. The wire itself is Romex 12-2 with a ground, which is probably one of the most common wires used in residential electric work. And almost all the wire that I use is stuff that's left over from past projects that involved electrical work. And it's almost always the case that there is going to be some leftover wire. So if you've done an electrical project in the past, you probably already have some of this wire on hand. If you are going to buy some, I suggest buying a short roll off of Amazon. It's quite a bit cheaper to get it there than it is to go to Home Depots or Lowe's. As an example, this is what a 15-foot roll of 12-2 with the ground cost on Amazon. And here's the exact same roll at Home Depot. Here's an example of a 25-foot roll on Amazon and the exact same roll at Home Depot. I'm not exactly sure why there's such a difference in price, but obviously it's going to be much more affordable to get it off of Amazon. Inside the yellow jacket, there are 3 solid copper wires. The hot and the neutral have a plastic coating on them, and the ground wire is just a raw copper wire. And when it comes to cutting the wire with all 3 wires in the jacket, I like these. They have a compound action. These are Crescent wire cutters. And these are wire strippers made by Klein Tools, and they also cut the wire very nicely. And I'll leave a link to all this stuff down in the description just for your reference. When it comes to removing the 3 wires from the jacket, I like to use a utility knife with a sharp blade. And I basically just cut the entire length of the section of wire, and then all 3 wires are very easy to remove from the jacket. In many of the places that I use the wire, I'll fasten the wire to something with a screw. And this involves making a loop on the end of the wire, which is easily done with either the needle nose pliers or the wire strippers. It's important that the loop is going clockwise. If you screw it on there counterclockwise, when the screw gets down to the loop, it will often loosen the loop and the wire can come loose. It's best to fasten the wire with a pan head screw. I usually use pocket hole screws. If you end up using a regular screw like this drywall screw, because the head is tapered, when it tightens up on the loop, it'll often come loose. So if you do use a regular screw, you want to use a washer, and this style washer works really well because it locks onto the loop. But I think it's better to just use a pan head screw. Now I'm going to show you all the different places that I use this stuff. First, I'll show you here in the garage. Then I've got a few things I want to show you on my truck, a couple of things that I want to show you at the shop that I work at, and a few things inside the house. And I want you to let me know in the comments which ones of these are your favorite, which ones you're going to copy, and if there's any of them that you're already doing. This is a big fan that I use in the summertime. I've just got a piece hanging right here, and that's just managing the cord on the fan. On the ends of a lot of these, so that it doesn't poke me, I'll bend the end of the wire back on itself. I got a couple of things here on the scroll saw. There's a short piece right here that's managing this hose, another short piece back here that's managing this part of the hose, and another piece here that's managing this end of the hose. Over there is my baby drill press, and there's a small piece here that's managing the cord. Over here at the bandsaw, I've got a small piece that's creating a little hook that's holding all of my extra blades. Over here is the dust collection setup for the bandsaw, and I've got a couple of zip ties with a short piece connected to it here and up there, and they're just managing the cord for the vacuum cleaner. There's basically the same thing going on for cord management on all these other dust collection setups, and there's also a short piece here to manage the hoses on these 3. This is the back of my miter saw, and this is where the wrench to change the blade goes. And there used to be a little bracket here that held the wrench in there, but the bracket broke. So the solution was a short piece of wire, and it works great. This is another short hook for cable management. This is another hook for cable management on the back of the miter station. These are a couple of hooks on the side of the miter station for holding extension cords. Here on the front of the miter station, I've got a couple of hooks made for holding speed squares. Down at the bottom on the front of my miter station, I've got two big drawers, and the drawer pulls are made out of wire. Some of you guys probably remember this stuff from the dust collection cart video, but there's a piece on the front of the cart here that holds my sander, and this is a full piece of wire inside the jacket. And then there's another smaller piece here that just manages the cord for the router. There's a piece here on the back, which is actually underground cable, which is a little bit different because it doesn't have a jacket. All three wires are inside of a plastic coating. And it's kind of more of a heavy duty thing, but it's managing cords and hoses. It really works well for managing cords and hoses. And then I've got a couple more of those up at the top for managing all the hoses. I've got a short piece here on my old pressure washer. I've got a new pressure washer. I just haven't thrown this one out yet. But this piece is here so that when I pull the trigger, I can lock the trigger on. And I find that pretty useful for a lot of different things. I've got a couple more hooks back here that hold this other pressure washer wand. This is a hook on the front of my paint cabinet that holds my face shield or my welding hood. This is a short piece on this air hose that's just there for managing the hose. I've got a small piece on the end of this cord that goes to the planer for cord management. I've got a piece here for cord management on my welding cart, and I've got a piece on this, which is what holds my grinders, and it sometimes hangs on the welding cart like that. I also hang my grinders right there. A phone holder, another cable management hook, a hook for holding the caulking gun, another hook for cable management on this light. This is another hook on the other video light. This is another hook for cable management on my drill press cart. There's also another short one up here for cable management at the top of the drill press cart. A couple more drawer pulls on the drill press cart. Another cable management hook on the drill press cart. This is another heavy duty hook that's made up for the extension cord on the back of the drill press cart. This is a hook that I use for managing the air hose sometimes on the front of the assembly table. This is a hook for my heavy duty scissors. These are some tape hooks on a piece of pegboard. This is a piece I use to make a quick and dirty weight for my jib crane. There's a piece here for cable management on this table saw. This is a hook for hose management when I do a lot of sanding at this outfeed table. This is a piece that makes a loop that holds the crevice nozzle for the vacuum cleaner. I've got a hook here and here for holding my floor nozzle. Another hook up here for cable management. This is another hook for hose management. This is a hook for cable management. Another cable management hook. Several more cable management hooks here. There's one here, one here, one here, one here. This little hook is pretty cool for the jigsaw. It just pinches the end of the cord here and holds the jigsaw in place. A couple more drawer pulls on the table saw station. More cable management on the table saw station. Up there I've got a couple of hooks that hold that piece of pipe for the dust collection over the table saw. This is a little place where I'm managing the air hose. This is a place where I'm keeping the air hose managed, and it's creating a gentle bend. This is another hook for hose management. When I do a lot of sanding over here, it holds the hose up out of the way. These, there's two of them. I've got one here, and these hang from a piece of string. It's actually string line string. And there's another one over here. These are for managing this hose. It really just depends on what I've got going on, where I want to hang this thing, but I can hook the hose there and get it up out of the way over on this side, or I can hook the hose over here and get it up out of the way on this side. Now I'm going to show you a few things out on my truck. Come on. I've got a piece right here, just in case I ever have material that's not longer than, say, 12 feet. I can strap it right here. I've also got a piece here that holds my gas can in here because my gas gauge doesn't work. So I run out of gas probably once every month or so. This keeps the gas can from spilling in the back of my truck. Then I've also got two of them hanging from my ladder rack that are hooks. There's one here and the other one's right here. And I'll show you how these work. On my tailgate, the latch is broken, so you have to do that to get it to open. I have to pull on these two things to open it up. And this little plastic thing that holds this rod on this side, it broke. So I've got a little piece of wire right there that's keeping the rod held on there. And it works. It works. For the past few months, I've been working at my friend's cabinet shop, and somehow I ended up in the finish room, which is something that I would have never expected. I am the painter. Anyway, I take that roll of Romex with me, and I have been the whole time I've been working there, and I found several places to use it in the cabinet shop, and lately I've been using it in the finish room. So those are the places I'm going to show you. So let's go to the paint shop. This is where I've been impersonating a painter. As soon as I walk through the door, there's no service, so I've got another phone hook out here. This one's actually not very good because the wire's not long enough, but last night I made a new one. When the sun comes out, I'll replace that. Over here, I've got a hook for cable management for an extension cord. The sander that goes to this dust extractor was always just laying all over the place, so I made another one of those loops. And now that sander has a place to call home. On this little dust extractor, for some reason the hose is longer than the cord, and sometimes you want to pull it by the hose. Because the hose was longer, it would sometimes pull the cord out. The solution was to put a little hook on the extractor, and that solved the problem. This is the spray room. Got a couple of different places in here. These are some airless sprayers, and I put a piece that comes off the hose here that holds the pickup tube, and that holds the pickup tube so that the pickup tube is going straight up and down into the paint can. And I've got one of those on each one of those. Then there's also a short piece on this airless sprayer for hose management. Over here, the air hose used to just lay on the ground, so we got one of those coil spring air hoses, and there's several pieces that are managing the hose up there. This is another one of those setups similar to what I've got on the Jigsaw in my shop, and it basically holds the air hose and makes it so that it's easy to get the air hose on and off. Here's another one of those coil spring air hoses, and at the end of the hose I've got a short piece that makes a loop that holds the air nozzle. And these are just a few more random places where I'm using pieces of wire to manage cords and hoses here in the finish room. And now I'm going to go ahead and replace the phone holder with the new one that I made. And I have some footage of making this that I'll show you here in a second.